Okay, we're recording video, and we're kind of happy with how we look on camera, but we can't change that.
Can't see, so
the angle is not going to fix it. No, that's good. You're in shot perfectly. I'm probably the most hidden, which is
not
fantastic.
worried about being in shot. I'm worried about what I look like in shot. Welcome
Sometimes
to
directly
the
to people who I know will find them funny or cute.
I'm Nicola.
The reason that I do that
Liam,
is
and we're both
life is
lecturers
very
in
heavy,
IDT in
particularly at the
psychology
moment.
and cyber psychology.
And if I can share those
Nicola,
moments that bring
what
me
are you
joy
in
or
bits
have that
about?
awe
I'm a bit about
factor,
cats.
I think
I am always
why
a
not
bit
make
about
a
cats,
day
but
a
like
little
good
lighter
bits
for others
for
too.
once. Kind of like the I want to squish them bits about cats. Like
Okay.
cute aggression bits.
Cat murder. Okay, but fine.
No, not murder, just squish.
Okay.
And we will talk about what cute aggression is as well. So
Okay.
we'll get into that.
Most importantly, we're
Sharing
joined.
either
we have
content
a
that I
special guest.
create about
So
my pets or
we
content that I
have
find
Dr.
online
Grace
is
Carroll,
ultimately about connection with
who
others.
did her
And
undergraduate
giving an
degree
insight
with me,
into
so
my
this is kind of
personality
cool
and
that we
sense of
get to
humour.
go full circle and
Plus,
chat
if you're
again.
the kind of person who doesn't
Grace, I
appreciate
know
funny
a
or
lot
cute
about each
animal
other from our
content,
undergraduate
then you're not
degrees,
my
which is
kind of
never
people.
going to appear in the podcast.
I'm really hoping for stories.
Professional careers will be ruined. So, Grace, do you want to introduce yourself in terms of your background, what your PhD is about, or was about?
Yeah, so thanks for having me back. It's good to be back at IADT. So, yeah, my interest in cats, well, it's been lifelong, but my interest in cats from a research point of view actually happened when we were doing an undergrad degree. So when I was doing my undergraduate thesis, we were trying to think of ideas for different topics. Most people wanted to work with humans. I wanted to work with cats.
Understandable.
Obviously. So I was kind of sitting there trying to think of ideas, and I was like, why do I love my cats so much? I could have asked that question and then typed it into Google Scholar, if that existed at the time, or whatever the search engine was. And this research came up about the psychology of pet keeping. And I based my undergraduate thesis on that, which was basically I increased cuteness or decreased cuteness in the faces of cats and got people to rate how cute they were and how likely they were to take care of them. So that started my interest in it at a kind of superficial enough level. So after our undergrad, I then went on to do animal behaviour and welfare at Queen's University Belfast. Went on a bit of a sidetrack for a while, so I actually ended up working with pigs in abattoirs. So it was a bit of a deviation from cats. And then I was working in England for about 2 years at Hartbury University, where I was teaching anthrozoology, which is human-animal interaction, animal welfare. And then I started lecturing in the School of Psychology at Queen's University
or
Belfast
funny animal videos and memes.
So I
mainly
still
for my
did
store.
a bit of farm animal research, but I had time then to go back to this. So that's where I started back again, actually carrying out more detailed research on cats, which we can talk about.
So your original hope to actually have cat participants in a fourth year project or even in your career has not happened just yet.
No. Well, I did. So I have a PhD student that did work in a cat shelter, but I have not personally conducted any research directly with cats.
I can imagine the cats are, I would like to say they're easier participants than humans, but I think that they would actually be more difficult.
Yeah. Their cuteness makes up for it.
It does. Yeah.
Okay.
Like when they're difficult, you can forgive them much more easily.
Sure. Yeah.
I would love to work with cats somehow. I'm not sure how I could quite squish that into online data. Well, I kind of, yeah. We'll come back to that one as well.
So because you're going to talk about pets, I have no pets, desperately want pets. And really specifically dogs, and allergic to cats.
Very,
But you
definitely.
introduced yourself and didn't introduce any of the cats that you own.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry, babies. Yes, so I have Domino, Biscuit, Ginger Balls, and Butterscotch. Ginger Balls is neutered though, so he's now Ginger.
Ginger no balls.
Ginger no balls. That's not good. Nicola.
Well, I have 2 cats now. I had 3 until about a year ago. But right now I have Coco and Peppy. And Typo was the other one of the trio. And then for a while, for about a year, we had a rescue cat called Ellie B as well, who was gorgeous and very skinny when she came to us and extremely chunky when she left us. She was like, oh Lord, she coming, kind of chunky.
Like, I go to your house and because I'm obviously allergic to them, I can't stay around them. I can't be near them for very long. And then as a result of that, cat. I think they like me.
Yeah,
because I don't pay attention to them.
Yeah.
And then we'll get Nicola. Have you seen Nicola's cats? I don't think you have.
I don't think so, no.
They're like, they look
I
like
might
they're
have one
out
or
of.
two pictures on my phone, maybe.
Obviously, yeah. You have to have the pictures.
They look like they've had like been in makeup and they've had their hair done every time she takes a photograph of them. And then
just photogenic.
Yeah, but then they're also like, if you've been in one of Nicola's classes, you will know that they're all over her slide deck as well. So when she's teaching, there's just a random cat. It may be relevant, it may be irrelevant, but it's just like, here's my cat.
Well, actually, so one of our studies, my PhD student used her cat in the paper, and I was like, I want my cat to be the example cat in this paper. So none of my cats have made it into a publication yet. But
Mine are thanked in my PhD on the acknowledgements page. Because Peppy was my research assistant. And that was typo. So I have 2 British short hair cats and one that's a mixture of British short hair and Maine Coon. She was a bit of an accident. And I'm trying to find a picture of Coco to send you. Not that anybody listening to the podcast can see this. This is a really awkward episode, as I realized when I was researching it, because there's so many visuals that I want to share. And you can't see any of them, so we're going to have to describe some. So they are very roundy little cats, British short hairs, round faces, round eyes, round little bodies, round little paws. They're super cute.
But I think that type of cat is going to feed into the research we talk about.
Is,
so we can, I don't know, can we like link? We can put them on the Insta. They'll get their fame through the Insta.
They'll be on the Instagram. Okay. So before I get started, do either of you, I don't know what age Liam was, probably a small child.
Grace is probably the same age as me.
Probably the same age, yeah.
Okay. Do you remember this song from 2011?
Some people think the internet is a series of tubes. Some people think it's made of wires and lasers and some hats. Some people think it's stuck together with a load of glue. But they're all wrong because the internet is made of cats. The internet is made of cats. The internet is made of cats. Cats, 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 cats. The internet is made of cats.
Well,
that is really disturbing.
We would have been about 21 then in 2011, so we were definitely of age.
Yeah.
But I don't recognise that song.
It was a little bit of a viral sensation. I remember it for sure. It was by a band called The Ham Machine, and all of their songs are just kind of like fun songs. But they were very kindly gave me permission to include it.
I've already made up a story in my head that you like are friends with this person.
No, not yet.
Okay.
So this episode is our first ever episode that does not have a content warning, and we're going to keep it light and fun, and particularly for me, for once in my life, I'm going to keep it light and fun. So if either of you say anything that requires us to go back and record a content warning, I will not be responsible.
Well, we
for
already
my
did
actions.
talk about Grace working with abattoirs.
We're not talking about that in this episode.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So you have no idea how hard it is to stay on the light side of the internet these days. So, Liam, do you have any favourite internet animals?
I don't, specifically knowing their names, no. I follow loads of pets on Insta. So like there's a chocolate Labrador called Guinness that I follow on Instagram. Guinness, I'm going to like anthropomorphize him.
Obviously.
Guinness has started promoting Christmas stuff at the moment. Or is still promoting holiday stuff, had discount codes for other stuff like pet-related calendars and stuff. So Guinness is kind of
a pet influencer.
A pet influencer who's kind of annoyed me for being a pet influencer as well.
Hey. They bring in the pet influence market is enormous.
It is big, but no. Outside of that, no, not specific pets. Like I would share a lot of animals, which is kind of separate. I don't know. I don't really follow them. My algorithm is just very heavily pet influenced, I think.
But dogs, not cats.
Dogs. I got like this really random one the other day, which was like a cockatoo in the middle of the night in a recording, and I'll try and share it on the Insta as well. But it's this cockatoo that at like 3 o'clock in the morning starts talking to Alexa, and it's like, Alexa, play dance music, and it starts playing like Berghain and dancing. And the owner is like losing their shit at this cockatoo, and then they eventually unplug the Alexa. However, the cockatoo doesn't know the Alexa's unplugged or switched off, so he just keeps going and like screaming Alexa at the top of its lungs. So that's one I shared really recently. And I like to share ones that are like, they all have this kind of like, I think they know that I want a pet because they're all ones that revolve around when your animal chooses you kind of themes.
I love those ones.
So I share a lot of those, and then I tend to not share ones that are like the pet causing carnage in the house, because then like my other half is not going to want a pet. So that's kind of where I'm at.
What about you, Grace? Cats or dogs or both?
Definitely cats. No offense to dogs. I love all animals, but I'm definitely a cat person.
Me too.
And there are certain dogs that I find cute, but they tend to be the ones that look like cats.
Yeah, me
like
too.
the fluffy, long-haired ones. There's certain ones I just don't get the appeal from a cuteness point of view. Like I do like all animals, but definitely 100% I'm a cat woman.
Yeah, I'm definitely a cat person. Although, bizarrely, I like greyhounds and lurchers. They don't look like cats, but apparently they're the closest dog to a cat that you can get. Like, they're lazy, they sleep a lot.
I think with me, it's to do with exposure as well. Like, I don't really know what to do with a dog.
Yeah.
Because I've just been around cats my whole life. So I'm like, I don't know how to hold you, how to like, I can't throw you out a window legally and just
You
like
can't
land
throw
on
a
your
cat
feet.
out of a window legally.
Well, they just
Yeah,
land
you
on
can.
their
They
feet,
land on
they'll
their
be
feet,
grand,
yeah.
Out of like a second story window.
Actually, you can...
Probably good.
No, I shouldn't be saying this, but...
This is also going to get into a DSPCA content warning or
Yeah,
something if
no,
we're not
you
careful.
cats can jump very far from very high heights without injuring themselves. You do see some videos of people trying to actually kill cats. Well, let's just take this bit out. But anyway, they throw them out of a window like 13 stories, and they land on their feet. So you can actually land on their feet
Yeah, okay.
from very high.
And in fairness, my cat Peppy did jump out the second floor window and was absolutely fine. I wasn't fine, but she was fine.
Oh, I did one time hold a puppy. Again, this is making me look bad. I'm an animal welfare lecturer. But when you're about to put a cat down, you kind of pour them out of your hand and they leap down.
Yeah,
Where I
yeah.
was trying to put this puppy down when I was a child, and I was kind of like about to pour him out, and he was starting to fall. So you kind of forget dogs can't jump the way cats can.
Oh, dogs are completely
They're
clumsy.
not made of liquid.
Yes,
Cats
yeah,
are made of
exactly.
liquid.
Cats do. They flow from your hands onto the ground.
They're like
you
a
know,
slinky.
there is a research paper, a physics research paper that won the Ig Nobel Prize for like proving that cats are actually liquid. Solid and liquid, both. They can be either.
I can see
and
that.
both.
Like, yeah, because I've heard of kittens that are able to actually get from one room to another by crawling under a closed door.
I've seen videos, but it's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. Okay.
Cats are the best.
Significant tangent.
Yeah, no, but it's about cats, so it's fine.
Okay.
So we'll get into your thoughts and research about why cats are so popular in a minute, but I just want to do a tiny bit of history and nostalgia for those of us who've been on the internet for a while. I do follow some cat influencers, I suppose. Like Owl Kitty is non-influencer. They don't try and sell anything. They do try and raise money for charity, but it's a couple and they like put their cat into scenes from films like Titanic and all sorts of stuff. Absolutely brilliant. It's so good. On Twitter, my old favourite was Bilbo and Laserdisc. It was a woman up in Northern Ireland, Ellen, and she had a cat Bilbo, but then Laserdisc was this local cat who kept getting in, and he was called Laserdisc because every time she saw him, the lights were shining in his eyes, and they looked like that. And I follow recently Puddles for Brains, really, really cute cat with a TBI, a traumatic brain injury. And the whole thing is like when the feeder goes off, the cat is like, how do they describe it? Like a Pokemon in an ice cave where it has to guide itself along the walls because it can't turn left or right. And the cat will sometimes put its blinker on by like raising a paw and thinking for like 10 seconds and then turn. It finds it difficult to find its way around without it. So it's like, how long does it take Puddles to get to its feeder? And it's very, very cute. But there's loads and loads of content. Obviously, I get a lot of cat content into my feed. I particularly like cats being weird little guys. I think there's something about the phrasing of that sums up exactly why we like them so much. Reddit's slogan used to be "Come for the cats," or like its unofficial slogan, I think it was an advertising slogan at one point. "Come for the cats, stay for the empathy." So it wasn't their official tagline, but it sort of captured the essence of what the platform was about, like how much cats were the absolute icon of the internet, and particularly starting around like 2005 to 2007, and I think reaching the peak around maybe like 2015, 16. I'm not sure if they're quite as dominant now, but they certainly were then. It was like the era of lolcats and Can Has Cheezburger and all of that kind of stuff. BuzzFeed used to rank their contributors by a metric of cat power. So every contributor's byline was accompanied by a ranking of 1 to 5 cats. So using celebrity cats like Grumpy Cat, Lil Bub, Colonel Meow, according to...
All of these names mean nothing to me.
They were very, very, very phenomenally famous cats. And so it was a measure of your rank in BuzzFeed's community. So the more you featured, the higher your cat power would be.
Okay.
So how did the cat become the symbol of the internet for so long? I think lolcats was sort of the origin of it online, although this stuff goes way back. The original memes and cat pictures and stuff really started in like Victorian England is when they kind of took off. So Jessica Maddox, who wrote a really good book called The Internet is for Cats, How Animal Images Shape Our Digital Lives, she says it's not just because they're cute, because they are cute, but because they're malleable. We can make them mean different things. We can mean whatever we want them to mean. But in the Victorian era, and I didn't know this until I read her book, people wrote letters to each other in their cats' voices and printed off like pictures, photo plates of their cats to share with friends. They were also used as memes and for advertising. So there's like examples of the suffragettes using pictures of cats saying, I want my vote, and like a little kitten screaming. So I have an example here of a little tuxie black and white kitten with his mouth open shouting, and it says, I want my vote underneath it. So we were using cute stuff way back. But then the internet came along, and once we got enough bandwidth, we started really, really, really liking cats. And Can Has Cheezburger was a site that was started by a couple of guys. Like one of them found an image that was originally, I think, on Russian cat food packaging and put text on it. And it was one of the starts of those memes that has text top and bottom, blocky text top and bottom, and a picture in between.
But that meme wasn't just cats. Like that went, if it started with cats, it went
lots
into
more
people
stuff.
as well.
Yeah. They're called macro memes.
Yeah.
And they extended way beyond that. And they had existed online before Can Has Cheezburger, but they were in places like 4chan and other places that were much darker. And so those memes didn't extend to the general public and the mainstream a lot. But when Can Has Cheezburger started up, that brought it really mainstream, and they became more sanitized. So there were a lot of the original people who created them that weren't happy about that, but they stopped being about stuff like masturbation and started being about cute stuff instead, which was more palatable for most people. And like that site, so it was two guys, they literally just something about the image of that really cute grey cat, and it is a British short hair cat, it's very roundy and very cute. There's something about that really appealed to them, and so they registered the name Can Has Cheezburger, and they started uploading pictures, and it completely took off. They couldn't manage the servers and everything because it was so popular. And so the current CEO, bought it from them for $2 million. His name's Ben Hu, and he got loads of investors in. He managed to convince them that putting cats on the internet was going to be a really good investment. And so within a short while, traffic was in the tens of millions of page views per month. And then not long after the purchase, it stalled a bit. And what they did was just leave it alone. They didn't touch anything. They didn't try to overly commercialize it, change anything about it. And again, it started to take off, and it got to 30 million page views a month, which is absolutely mad.
But it's just like leaving an online community to kind of self-regulate, self-foster, and then build as well, which works really well.
Yeah.
What I think is really interesting about this is that it's actually, and probably why it's so popular, is it's individual users who either have or care about cats. It's not a social media platform where people talk about various different topics. Everyone is there for a united goal and a united purpose.
Yeah.
So, within that space, everyone should already have, like, we've spoken about like common ground theory. Everyone should already be connected to each other. They should have their own in-group language. And we are probably going to talk about kind of the way these spaces interact or generally in the research, offline or offline. But like shared common goal then allows them to not necessarily have as much conflict, which might drive people away from that platform. I'm assuming there's things like trolling, but you probably want to avoid trolling, do you?
No, we're not talking about that.
Okay.
We're keeping it light today, Liam.
Okay, fine.
I am going to do another episode on memes, and that's going to be like the light and the dark side of memes, but not today.
Okay, Grant.
Today we're keeping it fluffy.
Okay.
So some really, really big cats emerged during this period. So in Japan, some of the first ones came up. Do you remember Maru? Oh, Maru was another British Shorthair. Well, actually, I think it was a Scottish fold, but he looks more like a British Shorthair to me because his ears aren't all wonky. Gorgeous, gorgeous cat in Japan who adored boxes. Like, the first video that I remember seeing of him was like the kind of box that goes around beer. So like the two sides of it are open. You could go into it, and he just like ran across the room and slid himself into the box. And he was like a chunky round cat. So everything he did like that, he tried to get into the smallest boxes, any box, no matter what size.
Is it this cat?
It is this cat.
Oh, the dude below.
He is just the cutest cat. He actually only died this year.
How can you tell he's a cute cat? He's completely smushed.
He's all three of those cats in those pictures.
It's the same cat.
Yeah.
He looks really pissed off here.
Yeah, he has a really cute, like British Shorthairs when they have a resting bitch face.
That one is cute. Where he's like
cute.
a plain with a box around him. Like, these are kind of cool. Okay.
So Maru is the Japanese word for circle or round, which is quite appropriate, and I think we'll link him well to the research we're going to talk about in a minute. His videos have been viewed over 582 million times, and he held the Guinness World Record for the most YouTube video views of an individual animal at one point. Very, very, very popular. And when he died, it's interesting, I went onto Reddit to have a look because I hadn't realized he had died in September, and I had a look at what people were saying about him, and it's really interesting. And I'm not going to do longer quotes so that they're not findable, but just little pieces of what people said. They were leaving tributes, memories of the first videos that they watched. They said things like, he was a legend. His legacy will go on forever. He brought so much joy. Maru, you brought a lot of people so much happiness. We'll miss you. And it's really sweet. Like, people really have this attachment and emotional connection with these animals that they're following. It's a parasocial relationship, but with an animal, which is very sweet.
I was going to say, it just rings of a parasocial relationship because they don't know this person, they don't know this cat, but they've actually by proxy connected with someone's cat. And there must be, or at least it's a good research topic, is looking at how people are connecting with other people's cats if they don't have pets themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's a form of almost like related to pet therapy for people who can't have pets. And we'll talk about that in the research, how good it is for people to actually watch cat videos. So there's something about cats that is so lovely. Like, they're popular because we can relate to them in a way. Like, I think people can relate to dogs as well, but there's something about cats where they're like elegant and beautiful, but also utterly ridiculous sometimes. That's just so lovely and so appealing. And I think we see ourselves in them. Like, we try to maintain this facade of being, professional or like an accomplished person or not a complete idiot, but we still are on the verge of doing really stupid stuff a lot of the time. Sometimes, speak for myself, I won't speak for anybody else. And so the best cat videos and the most popular ones are where they're either adorable and impressive or embarrassingly clumsy or really silly or ridiculous.
But there's also a whole portion of the internet where cats are being dicks, where they're like sitting on a counter or they're sitting on a table and they're just like pawing something that they know is going to smash.
Yeah, I know.
So let's not leave out the fact that is a space in the internet where they're not really great.
I love that about them, and most people who love cats love that about them.
That they're just going to
Yeah, because dogs are so simple. They're just like, I love you, you're amazing no matter what. But cats are like,
Oh no, dogs fully sulk. Like, if you leave for too long, a dog will sulk when you come back because you have left them and you have ruined their life. Whereas like a cat is just indifferent.
Oh no, they're not.
Are they not?
You haven't owned a cat, have you?
Yeah, no. No, my
they're
parents
so
had cats.
not.
Like dogs have this like loyalty and they get upset because of that. Whereas I feel like a cat, you come back and they're just like, yeah, whatever, human.
Well,
Okay.
I feel like they pretend they don't care that you come in. So if you are inside and someone else that lives in the household is coming in the door, they'll run down. But then when you walk in, they'll be like, whatever. So they'll pretend they don't love you, but they do.
That is so true. And
Cats
I've watched
so
them doing
passive
it.
aggressive.
Well, they have an air of mystery, right? They don't like to give everything away, whereas dogs give everything away. They're very simple.
Cats are just like this perception of zero fucks given. Yeah. Okay.
And then there's these like whole sections of cat images and memes and videos that are related to things that are personal to us that we can really connect to. And there's just something that where we can, like, we
Anthropomorphize.
Thank you. I can never say that word.
Human-like traits onto a
Onto
non-human-like character.
Yes, where we do that to the cats because they can have such funny little faces that you can like really project things onto them. Some of my favorite ones are around like mental health. Like there's a whole series of videos, Kitty explaining ADHD, Kitty explaining depression, that are really funny. But there's just like pure images that say things like, cute picture of a cat who looks kind of pissed off, saying, me going for a stupid walk in the stupid cold for my stupid mental health, and this cat in the snow looking annoyed. Or you see a cat with really big, wide eyes who just looks really worried. And it says, point of view, you just got a cat for emotional support, but she has as much anxiety as you.
She does look super distressed.
She looks super anxious, yeah. So, yeah, they're brilliant.
I love that one. When you've got a deep rage burning inside you, but you have no choice but to act nice.
I know. And it's that really cute cat with the little, like,
grimace face.
Yeah, I know. And then the one, by age 30, you should have a cat anxiety and a cat with anxiety. I have achieved all my goals. So yeah, the history of cats is long. Unfortunately, it has taken a turn recently because AI-generated cats are apparently really popular now. I hadn't actually come across these because I just dislike everything that comes across my feed that's AI, so obviously it's not feeding it to me. But Chubby is one of the most popular AI cats on TikTok, and it's hideous. I don't understand why people like it. And there was an artist who was interviewed for this piece for the BBC who was saying, I'm an artist, I instinctively didn't want to like AI, but something about this gets me. So this cat, and like the cat looks totally different from story to story. It's supposed to be the same cat, but there's no continuity. And he has like a kid. And it's put into these really depressing, miserable situations, like in jail or getting arrested and leaving a distraught Chubby Jr. to an uncertain fate behind prison bars, dreaming wistfully of his son, getting bullied, shoplifting, like really, really strange. But these are so popular, like over 50 million views, 68,000 comments in all
Why
sorts
do you
of
think they're
languages.
popular though?
The comments that were included in the article said things like, even though I didn't want to like it, there's something so heartbreaking about the stories, it just moved me. And like it overemphasizes the cuteness because it's AI, so they're extra shiny, extra cute. The eyes are extra big, extra fluffy. But I find it so bizarre. So yeah, that's a bit of the history. When I was saying that the pet industry is booming, it's projected to hit $500 billion by 2030, like absolutely massive. And it's really leveraging cat influencers to drive that market and other pet influencers as well. But cats are the biggest of all. They dominate the content. So we will move to the research now that I've gotten all the
Cat
history of cats out of the way. I edited that down a lot. You're lucky. I could have done that for an hour. So, Grace,
Yes.
your research.
So it's interesting you're mentioning there the amount of money that's spent, because this comes into this topic as well. So from an evolutionary point of view, we put so much money into pets, we put so much time, effort, but what are we actually getting out of it? So from an evolutionary point of view, it only makes sense for us to look after our kin, so individuals that are related to us, like our offspring. So why do we keep pets? That's the kind of thought I had when I was doing my undergrad degree, and that's what led me on to looking at this in more detail. So first of all, like, what is cuteness? When we talk about cuteness, what actually is it? So some of my research has looked at explaining this, like what do we find cute? And as you said, Nicola, one of the biggest things is the big eyes. So that's like the number one thing, but there are a set of features and they're known in the research called as infant features. So round eyes, a round head, a small nose and mouth. And these are characteristics that we typically see in human infants. If we look at cats and dogs, especially puppies or kittens, and we look at babies, there are so many similarities in their facial features. And this is thought to be why we keep pets in the first place and why we find them cute. If we look at human infants, one thing about humans as a species is we are very altrical, which basically means we're born completely helpless. So out of any species, we're the most helpless at birth. And you have other species that are known as precocial. That means basically, if you think of like deer, for example, they're born, they're up and running within a few minutes. But for humans, our infants are born helpless and completely reliant on us. So how do they get us to look after them? they charm us with their cuteness. So we want to look after them. We're motivated to look after them because they have those facial features, big eyes, small nose and mouth.
So does everybody find their own babies cute? Because not every baby's cute.
Yeah.
Okay, careful.
I find cats much cuter.
Everyone thinks their own baby is cute, but I know that there is research that shows that cuter babies are taken care of better, and it can be an honest signal of health. So, if you go back thousands of years, you had to make difficult decisions. Cuteness actually is an honest signal of health, and invest in me because I'm likely to survive.
Okay.
So it actually has a survival advantage in babies and in pets as well.
So is that where the chubbiness thing comes in with like pets and like chubby cheeks and stuff?
Yes, so chubby
roundiness,
cheeks are, we find that attractive, and the fluffiness. So we, if you go back a few 100,000 years, we were fluffy as well. So we still have that preference for fluffiness, and fluffiness in kittens, for example, it makes the head look wider, which gives that kind of fat cheek impression.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, so that's what we like in infants. And basically there's that theory that that's why we keep pets. So if we look at, because let's say human infants are so dependent on us, we need to be really sensitive to infant features. So what we tend to see is that we overextend it rather than cautiously giving care to an individual. So if we see any sort of small individual, which could be a baby or another species that has those big eyes, that small nose and mouth, we are so sensitive to infant features because we, as infants, we needed to survive based on eliciting care from adults, that we do tend to overextend it.
So we can't help but go.
We can't help it. And when you think about it, you're talking about that I Can Has Cheezburger. That's one of the traits of motherese, which is where you talk in a high-pitched voice to babies. You talk in this baby talk kind of way, and we see that with animals as well. So we talk to them the same way we talk to human infants and human children.
But like I see that in my dog feed. Like let's bring it back to normal pets. I saw a video last night, like a reel, and it's like a cockapoo running around on someone's bed, which is just like, that would just traumatize me if that was my bed. But they're like, you should be annoyed, but then you remember what's happening inside your dog's head, and then it cuts to like this kind of like mummy baby voice, and it's the dog like playing in the dog's voice in this mummy cuteness, and then you're like, hang on a second, is this kind of okay? And then you realize that this person is doing it just because that whole concept of, but I'm just a baby.
Just a baby.
Yeah, but like that's really popular, or a really popular trend in dog like videos and memes. I don't know if it is in cats as well.
There's actually words for motherese for cats and dogs as well.
Oh, okay.
So the generic term is pet-directed speech, but for dogs, they're weird names. Doggerel. And for cats, catterel.
Okay.
But I think pet-directed speech is a more common term because they sound a bit weird.
Sounds a bit better.
Really weird.
Yeah.
They don't sound like the cute, high-pitched, fun thing that they are.
No, they don't.
Yeah, it sounds like guttural.
Yes, yeah. I don't like those. But it's a good example of what's called a social releaser, which is a lot of what I look at. So a social releaser is basically a stimulus that triggers an innate behaviour.
Okay.
So if you look at seagulls, for example, you might have noticed, maybe not, they have a little red dot on their beak.
Yeah.
So when the chick sees that red dot, that's a social releaser that triggers them to beg for food. And even if you get a stick and you paint a red dot on it, they will still respond to that stimulus.
Okay.
So it's a simple stimulus that triggers an innate response. Infant features are the same. When we see that stimulus, big eyes, small nose and mouth, round head, we're triggered to either provide care or to suddenly start speaking in a higher pitched voice. So we don't realise it, but instantly we change how we speak when we see these stimuli.
Do you get that same social response if you put in, so you don't have this pet right in front of you, it's in your algorithm instead, and now you start to like share all of these posts with someone else, so it's almost like you're sharing that same emotional response with someone else, and then trying to get kind of not necessarily social connection from that person, but you're like, look how cute this is. And it's that like series of parents around a baby in front of a pram phenomenon.
Yeah,
It
because
totally is.
I feel like I'm like, if someone's like, do you want to see a picture of my child? I'm like, no. But if someone said, do you want to see a picture of my cat? I'm like, yes,
I'm like,
100%.
yes.
I'm like,
Obviously, I
okay.
want to see your cat.
Yeah.
So I think some people probably feel that way about children, but I think yes, so many people I want to see your cat and I want to show you my cat, and you do have that thing like, oh, we're both cat lovers.
Yeah.
See, like we spoke about this in our Christmas episode about, so like I send Christmas cards to people. I also put pets in my Christmas card
Obviously.
because like you can't leave them out. So like
Their family.
if I'm sending like one to my brother has 3 cockapoos, so I was like putting all of the dogs' names into the card, and I was like tempted to put them ahead of my brother, like my sister-in-law, and then the dogs, and then my brother. But I didn't. But like it's so funny because like you answered it, like if you're on FaceTime, like all of the dogs like magically appear, and like all of my willpower is spent like trying not to say like the word walk while on the call, because otherwise all hell is gonna break loose. But I think you get that like social response. Like I send dog memes to so many of my friends, but like they know me, so they wouldn't share like cat memes or
I don't think I
videos.
share cat memes with you, do I?
I was like, no, I haven't seen any of the ones that you were talking about, which I would have expected. Like I share like the dog ones, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I think people associate me with cats as well. So if they see a cat meme, they're like, oh, I'll send this to Grace.
Send
So my
to
mother's
Grace.
like, every time I see a cat, I think of Grace.
Yeah. My whole family is obsessed with cats, so we all send each other.
Yeah.
And myself and my brother almost entirely communicate in like cat videos with each other, which is very sweet. And actually we have a recording. He very kindly recorded a little voice note for us talking about like why he likes these kind of videos and shares them and what it feels like to get them as well. Might put that in here actually, because I think that's quite nice in here.
So what do I enjoy about cute, funny animal content online? I'd say the question kind of answers itself. I particularly love cat content even, because cats are hilarious and ridiculously cute. They always get themselves into weird situations, which makes me laugh, and who doesn't need a good laugh on a daily basis? I have 2 cats. I constantly share, cat memes, dog memes, and recently videos like of raccoons, which are absolutely hilarious. I think what I like most about the raccoons is that they seem kind of intent on domesticating themselves, much like cats did throughout history. Again, if I find something funny, or cute, and I want to share it with other people so that they can get a laugh out of it. So, that might just trying to make people feel good, I suppose. When other people share that kind of content with me, then it makes me feel good because they understand what makes me happy and makes me laugh. And then I feel like they know me, or they have taken time to understand what I like. So that's about it, really.
Yes, so I'm interested in how animals became domesticated in the first place. That's one thing. So there are different pathways to domestication. These are all theories because it was, 10,000 years ago, 12,000 years ago was the time where animals started to become domesticated. But there are different pathways. So cats and dogs and pigs actually as well are thought to have been domesticated via the commensal pathway.
Okay.
And basically a commensal pathway is where there's a benefit to one side and there's a neutral effect on the other. So initially it was wolves and wildcats that were like the more submissive, younger, more curious, tamer, you might say, animals that were drawn to human settlements. So the wildcats were drawn to stores of grains because they attracted mice and rats. That's their food. And then the dogs were attracted to the scraps left by humans. You're getting this separation from the wild ones that are aggressive, that are highly fearful of humans, to the ones that are a bit less aggressive, more curious, less fearful of humans. So you're seeing this separation of the two populations. And over time, that led to domestication. There was actually really interesting studies on silver foxes and done in Russia. And I think they began around the 1940s, the Belyov experiments, where they had silver foxes and they basically tried to replicate the domestication process. So the welfare standards weren't that good. They were in cages, but basically they would approach a fox in a cage and gauge their reaction. So were they fearful or aggressive, or were they kind of curious? And they mated the slightly more curious ones with other curious ones. And over about 40 generations, they basically went from looking like wild silver foxes to looking like dogs.
wow.
So their coat colour changed, their vocalizations changed, they started panting, they had patchy coats instead of just a plain, like, so basically they showed that what domesticated animals are is basically a tame version of the wild ancestor. So if you select for tameness, you see this massive range of changes, all because of that one trait being changed.
To be fair, I can't imagine like a non-tame version of a cockapoo. Like, what is that going to be?
Yeah, well, actually, they mated the aggressive ones together, and they just stayed the same. So it actually would probably just revert back to some wolf type animal.
pretty quickly, probably.
Yeah. Although it is hard once the animals are domesticated, it's hard to completely reverse the process.
I think that's also why, like with wild animals, they ask that you don't handle them, don't feed them and stuff, because once they become used to that, it's actually hard to undo it.
And it's like deer and foxes. Like there are a few studies on foxes that show that they are semi-domesticated because we don't always need to play an active role.
Yeah.
So if you think about cattle, for example, that was called the directed pathway, or sorry, not the directed pathway. There's a pathway that involves strategic hunting, basically, where we started, instead of just hunting an animal, anyone we find, we started strategically choosing which ones at which stages of which month in the year, which season, and that strategic hunting led to the domestication of animals like cattle. But there's also the directed pathway, like silver foxes and mink, where we decided we're going to domesticate these animals to keep them for fur or whatever. So that was us playing the active role.
Yeah.
A lot of species, like foxes, deer, like in Phoenix Park, for example, it's a kind of like self-domestication because they're in close quarters to humans. So if you're a bit less afraid of humans, you actually have an advantage.
Yeah. And we're seeing that a lot more now, where our Dublin is a sprawling city, and like
There's foxes everywhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I was doing some shopping the other night, and like a fox was just like completely casually, nonchalantly, slightly boisterously probably strolling past the car, and it was like, I'm also here. And I was kind of like, please don't get hit by a car.
I know.
But I like that that's starting to happen, but there's obviously going to be like negative impacts.
Yeah, there is. Well, there is. So if you actually look at the skull, for example, domestic species, the vast majority of them, the brains get smaller because the bits that are for wariness, for survival in the wild, they don't need anymore. So if you don't need something, your brain is very costly, it uses up a lot of energy. If you don't need something, then it'll be selected against.
Okay.
So a lot of domesticated species, nearly all of them, have smaller brains than the wild
My cats
ancestor.
definitely
And
do.
we're seeing that in foxes. If you track them back, foxes' brains are getting smaller. So it can be a bad thing.
Yeah. I love seeing them around. Obviously, my last name, I grew up with the last name Fox.
Oh, yes,
And so my whole family is obsessed with foxes as well. We love them.
I like them. They're like half cat, half dog.
They're so beautiful. I love them. And I love videos of foxes online.
They are really
But there's like a breed of Labrador that's been mixed. So there's like an Australian red lab that's been mixed with foxes.
Oh, I heard that they actually did a DNA test to see if it really was a hybrid, and it was.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I
is,
heard that.
yeah.
I was like, how is that possible? They're separated by like millions of years or something.
Yeah, and it's like they are more water resistant coats. There's like so many differences for them.
Yeah.
And they're basically just like a ginger Labrador. So
Yeah.
I'm like obsessed. That's what I want.
Yeah, that would be cute.
And the welfare aspect just needs to be
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the psychology of what we get out of looking at cat videos specifically online. So jump in if there's anything that fits with your research. The fact that we can connect with other people through these is really important. And they also tend to trigger like parasocial relationships with the animals and our empathy for them. And because you can see them any time of day, you have this continuous access that you might not necessarily have to your pet if you have a pet. So that makes it like really helpful for people who are looking to get that little cute hit from it. And social media facilitates the connections with these animals. The cuteness of them creates a shared positive experience, and it fosters bonds between people. The parasocial relationships fulfill a need for companionship, but that also includes like a really positive sense of attachment to the animals, and that can actually reduce loneliness. And it's that attachment, that emotional attachment, which is the mediator that reduces loneliness. So if you don't experience that, and it's the same with pet ownership. If you own a pet but don't actually feel that attached to it and haven't developed that emotional relationship with it, you don't actually get the benefits in the same way as people who have that attachment to their pet. So if you watch cute cat videos and you have that emotional attachment to them, that's actually really beneficial for reducing loneliness. So they can be really, really positive.
It does actually reminds me of, there is some research to show that just viewing cute images changes our fine and gross or larger motor skills, should I say. So our fine motor skills are better. We show more careful behaviour after viewing cute images, and it's thought that it's because we need to be careful around infants.
Oh, wow.
So if people view cute images of animals, their fine motor skills are actually better. So it does show just looking at stuff, not actually having the animal there. It must do something.
Yeah,
positive.
it's so interesting, isn't it? And they also build communities because people share them with each other. So like my brother said in the voice note earlier about that connection and showing that you understand the other person and you know what they like. If you've ever heard the term pebbling, it's what penguins do. They like gift each other pebbles. And so people have used it to describe the way that we share these cute videos or funny memes or funny videos with each other on social media. It's like taking a moment, you see something and you think of the person and you send them something that they like. So it keeps that connection and builds that relationship. It's like a really positive thing. They can also reduce stress as well. So they're very much associated with positive emotions, and the cuteness and the positive emotions can help reduce stress and efficacy around stress, which is really useful.
We have a voice note from one of our listeners that I think is such a lovely example of taking all of this online stuff, all the joy of these kind of videos, and bringing it into the offline world with a family. So we're going to play that for you now.
In our house, Friday evenings mean pizza and movie night. So once the movie is over, I connect my phone up to the TV and we watch predominantly videos, but some memes too, of mostly cute and funny animals that I've come across or get sent on Instagram during the week. Every time I come across something I think they'll enjoy, I save it into a particular folder on my account to show on Friday night. It's one of the things that my kids look forward to most, and we really enjoy watching them together. It's a lovely way to connect and show them that even though there are very dark and really dangerous parts of the online world, there are also other parts inhabited by really cute animals that make you feel good. So I'm now hoping that when they do have their own social media accounts in time, that they will seek out and enjoy that type of content themselves and not get caught up in the more divisive things that they will inevitably come across.
I talked about cute aggression, which is a really paradoxical emotional response where something's so cute that you just want to squish it.
Yeah, Grace said it earlier.
It's quite aggressive, but it's basically just like emotional management or emotional regulation. It's so cute that you feel like you've got to get it out in your body somehow, which is really quite cute. So it's like being physically overwhelmed by the cuteness, which I absolutely get with cats. Some people feel it more so than others. So we see that quite a bit as well. And that actually deepens the emotional bonds that people feel with the cat videos. And because they share it with each other, so they vocalize it, and it's socially normative to say, oh my God, I just want to squish it. And other people agree. So it increases that social connection as well. There was one paper called It's So Cute, I Could Crush It, which I quite liked, although crush isn't the right word.
Yeah, that
like
doesn't have...
Squish is the right word. So yeah, it's very, very cute. And then there's another term, kamamutta, which is a Sanskrit term for moved by love, like a really emotional response, profound emotional response that's like warm and elevated and having a deepened sense of connection. And that is also including a sense of like closeness or unity as well. And that is something that is really elicited by cute media and cute cats, particularly the kind of cute media that evokes like tenderness, vulnerability, nostalgia, which we see in lots and lots of cat videos. So there's all these core responses to cuteness, that caretaking response that you've been talking about, socializing, the whimsical, playful side of it, cute aggression, and that kamamutta, that emotional stuff that kind of shows how multifaceted cuteness actually is. So it's really fascinating how much something so simple and something that you think as maybe quite superficial, how it can actually increase bonding. I think we can agree that our enjoyment of cats online isn't necessarily as straightforward as we might think. There's actually a lot going on with it, and it's really mostly positive. There is some research that shows that if we use it for procrastination, that can be a bit of an issue. But actually, if you feel really happy watching it, that reduces the feelings of guilt about doing it for procrastination. So just make sure that you're watching cat videos that are really, really cute.
Or other pet videos are also acceptable.
Mostly pet videos, and raccoons and sugar gliders, because they're very cute as well.
I'm outnumbered.
They're amazing. Thank you so much for tolerating an entire episode on cats, Liam. I know they are not your animal of choice, but they're very cute. Grace, thank you so much for coming and joining us and sharing your expertise. It was brilliant having you here because you know so much more about why I love cats than I do. I just know they're very cute.
Well, any chance to talk about cats, I will take it. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you all very much. Thank you for listening, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time.
You've been listening to In Bits. You can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Blue Sky, and TikTok at In Bits Podcast. We'd love to hear what you think about specific episodes. Follow us and share the episodes to see more. Thank you again to Owen, our producer, and our creator of our lovely show music. See you in 2 weeks.
See you then.